Communication with the passenger. Introduction to the module. All the airlines in the world at this juncture of high competition need the choicest people to represent their airline in the field of public relation. In this module, the learner can learn how these personnel can win the heart of the traveling guests through their behavior and working ability and attract them, the guests, towards their airline. Topics to be covered in this module: service of cabin crew to satisfy passengers, eagerness to win the situation, cabin crew's actions, how to improve dealings with aggressive people, positive thinking, psychology and expectations of passengers. Service of cabin crew to satisfy passengers. Those who travel by air could understandably be distinguished as educated, sophisticated, and the cream of society. It is necessary to treat them with the utmost professionalism, and that makes the task of the aforementioned employees fairly challenging. To meet this criterion, the airlines bestow the best quality training for these employees. However, the implementation of such teachings or training remain dependent on, or proportionate to the individual professional attitude of every single employee, and that in turn comprises his or her eagerness to win the situation and its materialization. Cabin crew members come under this category of employees executing public relation-oriented duties. To provide good service and public relation, a person has to effect the following: smile, establish eye contact with the customers or passengers, use customers or passengers' correct name, demonstrate respect towards the customers or passengers, provide undivided attention to him or her, understand the person's body language, show respect towards colleagues and the organization, remain calm and quiet, and be well groomed. A person should not only possess the aspiration to provide exceptional service, but would also need the required motivation and hard work to put the said desire into practice. Both these, the increased desire and motivation, are generated from an understanding of the close links between better service and confidence in oneself. One might achieve these by practicing to remove some, if not all, of the causes or effects of negative stress and fatigue, improving one's communication skill and work power, knowing one's strengths and drawbacks honestly, and trying to be a winner and not a loser through his or her urge and tenacity, thinking only positively and not negatively. In order to provide good service, it is important for a cabin crew to be confident of his or her own self and depend on his or her job knowledge as well. In that way only, he or she could actually decide about the kind of relationship he or she would like to have with the passengers and how important they are to him or her. Eagerness to win the situation. For this, one should have qualities like understanding the situation, quick thinking, and putting through effective and alternative solutions or suggestions if the entire and/or the maximum part of the person's demand remains beyond one's reach. Understanding the situation. A patient hearing to realize the passenger's needs without interruption is most essential to understand the demand and his or her temperament. Only when the customer has finished his or her representations, certain specific questions might be asked to satisfy one's own queries, if develop at all, to pinpoint his or her specific desires. In such cases, maintaining a cool and calm expression would be of extreme importance. Quick thinking. If the aforementioned demands of the passenger could possibly be fulfilled totally, it is well and good, and the cabin crew, in that case, takes action to comply with his or her demands without delay, because any further discussion becomes unnecessary. If that does not affect, a mental note starting from the best option the cabin crew can offer in lieu of the passenger's demand in a gradual downwards sequence, from the best to the last, has to be prepared and offered. Putting through effective solutions after explaining the cause of the cabin crew's inability to meet the specific demands of the passenger. Those aforementioned mentally prepared alternatives should be presented in lieu of his or her demand, in an identical sequence. Cabin crew members should find a basis for encouraging the passengers to grasp and accept their offerings and derive more enjoyment, pleasure and satisfaction from their passengers' satisfaction and for staying in their company. The success would certainly provide him or her pure job satisfaction.